Hi, everyone. Welcome to the live stream. Thursday, 8 o'clock sharp. We're on time. I think the first time we're on time. Special guest, Yellan, thank you for being here. Ajax, Papimento. We have a couple of things to discuss today. Unfortunately, Young Ajax is playing right now against Young PSV, but yeah, you know what it is. We have to continue with the show. So we will. Guys, we have to start talking about Blind because this news came out yesterday. I don't know if it's shocking, yes or no. I will leave that up to you. You can talk about that, but he's leaving for free. And probably he will go to Belgium, to Antwerp, because Overmars has been chasing him since the summer. I want your opinion on this news, what you think, your thoughts, the whole situation around Blind. Does it surprise you, yes or no? Let me start with Yellen.
First of all, thanks for having me again, guys. Lovely to be here. And yeah, not a shock to me that he wants out. And I think it's also good for both parties if he gets to finish his career as an actual actually playing matches. But yeah, it's sad to see him go basically, yeah, without a good farewell. But I think it's better for Ajax and better for Blind that he goes.
Is it better for
Wow.
Ajax, Yellen? Is it better?
In my opinion, yes, because what he has shown for the last half a season at Ajax showed me that he is in such a decline that he is no longer to the greatest of value for us. He had one good match in the World Championship, and everybody made a 180 on his performances, but it was still just one match. That's my opinion. So I think it's better.
Okay, so you're okay with it, basically.
I'm okay with it. Yeah, I think he deserves a, a good farewell at Ajax, but maybe that will give him like a going away match, or because he does deserve that.
All right. Ajax, I want your opinion also, but let me add a question to that. Do you think this is the? Do you think it's good from Ajax side to let him leave in the middle of the season?
No, I understand that it comes to the point that we are now, but I would have loved to see him maybe leave at the end of last season because we could all see it coming a bit that he becomes the player that isn't a player anymore like a few years ago, you know. So you could already see the decline. We discussed it many times on the channel. And yeah, I do not like to see a player with his stature go like this, you know, because yeah, things are not peachy at the moment between the club and the player. That is obvious. So a legend that he is of the club, the prizes that he won at our club, he deserves to go out the front door and not in a January window through the back door.
Yeah.
So I do not know what the problem if it's also partly Blind that he doesn't want to be a bench player, you know. So we do not know every detail, but I would have loved to see him go through the front door, and unfortunately, it's not going to happen now. But for him, for his career, it's best that he gets playing minutes because he deserves to, like Jalan said, end his career on a playing basis and not like just less minutes, less minutes, less minutes until you do not play anymore and you're a locker room figure.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would love to see differently, but it has come to this, unfortunately.
You know, the thing that's I struggle with a little bit, you know, and I'm hearing you guys talk about Blind, but also when I was reading everything and I was trying to digest the fact that he's leaving, we were critical on the channel. A lot of people are critical on Blind. And of course, because we know how good Blind can be and what he has done for the club. And we've seen him, you know, like decrease in terms of level. So I agree with Yellen on that. But if you compare him, let's be honest now, we know defensively he's a liability. We know that. But on the ball, in the Eredivisie, compare them to the other players that we have at the back. Aren't we being too simple as a club and saying, yeah, man, you can leave for free. It's fine. We'll manage without you. What do you think, Papimento?
First of all, I want to say, he's a legend. He brought us a lot, and we're grateful for that. So that's apart from this. For me, I've said it many times. He's a bench sitter now. He could have helped us till the end of the season with a lot of games in the Eredivisie and even some games in the Europa League. But he's not going to be a starter. And as you said on Twitter, Schreuder ball is long ball to Kudus anyway. So it doesn't matter if you have a passing player from the back. He's not being used properly. The team cannot pick up where he lacks, where his ability lacks, in his defensive abilities. So we cannot guarantee him a starting position. Now, where my confusion comes from is the Blind Twitter, what he said, that it's not true. After one day, it's already in the media. But is it true that he requested a transfer out, or is the situation completely different? This is something I don't know. And if it wasn't him that said you can go out, but Schreuder, then I'm from a completely different idea that he should go, because he deserves much more for all that he brought us, and he could have been critical for us to get that league title this season.
Yeah, about the tweet of Daley Blind, let me paraphrase a little bit what he said. So it came out today. He basically reacted on the media yesterday, coming out and saying that he will leave. He submitted a request before the World Cup. That's how the media brought it. And Ajax basically accepted it, and he can leave for free in the January window. But he's saying two things. First of all, he doesn't like the fact that it came out so quickly from the media. And second of all, the situation is a little bit different than what the media is bringing, as a story. So what do you think about that, Yellan? What's your opinion on that tweet of Daley Blind regarding this whole situation? What does it tell you?
It doesn't tell me anything because he's so cryptic. So it doesn't tell me what's the real story. It's just that there's a different story than the media is portraying. So I think it would have been good if he would just have told what his intentions were and what really happened, other than just saying that what has come out of the media isn't what happened. And I understand there are agents and there are other factors at play, but this doesn't tell me anything. So it's
totally
all,
agree
it's all
with you, by the way,
speculation.
Yellan. Yeah,
Yeah,
totally
it's all
agree with you.
speculation.
He's leaving anyway. Why just not blast the freaking coach? But okay.
That depends if that's the real problem, if that's what happened.
But I do have. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. No, go ahead. No, I just want to say we know before the World Cup already there's something wrong, right? I mean, he's not going to be benched for no reason. He didn't want to talk about Ajax when he started the World Cup, but he seemed agitated. So there was definitely already something going on. Let's not beat around the bush. Go ahead.
I do have some concerns what's going on within the club because, guys, let's be honest. Compared to the Ten Hag reign and now under Schreuder, things are leaking out so fast this season. Like the formations are already there, like a day prior to the match. Other things are leaking out of the club. So the news coming out of the club, all those leaks, it's way more than under the Ten Hag era. So this tells me something that there's fundamentally something wrong within the club. Not only the coach that we talked about a lot of times, but probably you get the feeling that there are several parties that are like going toe to toe within the club, because otherwise there isn't so much to leak. If everybody was pointing into the same direction, you would be a group and you will have like, how do you say that? A common goal. And now it seems like there is havoc within also the club itself that goes deeper than only the coach. This is my feeling, and I cannot, give you facts that how do you say that helps me to make the statement. But this is a gut feeling that I have. And compared to the Ten Hag era, nothing got leaked. Everything stayed within the club and in the dressing room. So what is the difference there? And I have to give Daley a point for that, because he's saying it's already in the media. And this is not only with his story, this has been continuously going on the whole season. So this baffles me a lot, to be honest.
Yeah, it's a good point.
Yeah, and there's also a rumor, by the way, that on when Schreuder was the assistant coach of Ten Hag, the rumors was also the things were leaking as well. So is it Schreuder? Because since Schreuder is here, everything's being leaked much sooner than expected. So is it him? Is it somebody in his coaching staff? I mean, it's not the way to go. It's not the way I should behave. We're a professional club. It's too roory at the moment. I don't know.
Yeah, if it's Schreuder, it would be really weird because if you see the interaction he has with the media, he was really fired up about stories they tell in the media about Schreuder. So you remember that press conference where he was completely alive for the first time, for lack of a better word. So that would be really weird if it was Schreuder. I do think that another part of this was really weird is that they were so quick to say Schreuder's position was never in question, which I think is very, very weird considering the at least 3 months we had prior to the World Cup. So there are some weird things going on. Like, even if you don't want to sack him, his position should be up for discussion.
Definitely.
Yeah, look, I can say right before, like an hour before we came into the stream, I received like inside information, basically a little bit, that for sure regarding the Blind situation, it was not leaked by Schreuder. I don't know by who, but it's not Schreuder. So I can basically.
Is it maybe the same person that's leaking information to you? Because that would make a quick match, 1 + 1.
I'm the one that's leaking everything, guys. No.
Yes.
No. On a serious note, though, because maybe people will, think differently about this, but I was told, or I was informed, that it was not Schreuder who leaked the information about Blind, at least. So, but it's true what EyeJax is saying. It's completely 180 compared to the Ten Hag era, and that's strange. And it's a good point also that you're seeing like this, like Overmars left, who's kind of a leader, Ten Hag left, who's kind of a leader, and now you're seeing a little bit of a how do you call it? Like
the cracks.
Yeah, I don't know, but the thing that you see, like this power struggle,
power shift of people trying to grab the power.
Yeah, something like that.
It's up for grabs, yeah.
Interesting point. It's
There's no alpha anymore within the group, No leaders.
Yeah. Exactly. Look, one more thing about Blind, right? And then we go to the comments. Maybe there are some comments already. Papimento, do you know?
Yeah, there are some comments. Just go ahead with what you want to say, and then I'll check.
Oh, okay, so the only thing that, and I think I'm saying that again, but I think it's a risk. Don't you guys think it's a risk to let, going from Blind is not the Blind as he was before? Like with Ten Hag last season, we saw some cracks, or we saw some things, worrying signs, but he was still valuable for the team.
Yeah, but
in a couple of months. That's my point.
We touched upon that earlier in a talk we had together, Juan. It's because we lost so many players. At least that's my opinion. We lost so many players that the gelling within the team, we had players that could cover for his liabilities last season because we were clicking. The team was still a team and it was working well. So within a team that has problems with building up, players trying to gel into the new team, you have to get cohesion with each other. It doesn't work yet. So you do not have that surplus, that extra that you can sacrifice to cover up for his liabilities, because everybody has to give their full 100% to even cope at the moment as a team and as a unit. So that's the difference with last season.
Yeah, but actually, don't you feel now, because let's be honest, still in his current form, he's the best one that can build up from the back in our team.
Yeah, but
what happens now? What will happen now if he's leaving?
That's also our Achilles heel, because he's in the team, we're searching, we're trying to find him that he can build up. But we have to learn and stand on our own 2 feet, at least some players within the team. We're getting way too predictable. And last season, Timber was performing much better in the passing area. You had Martinez that could build up very well from the back. So you had several parties that know how to handle the ball. And now usually they try to chase us in the defense and let Bassey do the build-up play. You see that with a lot of matches that we played, and opponents try to, same thing as they did sometimes with the final against us, Manchester United, that they left Davinson Sanchez open to build up the play. It's the same thing with Bassey, it's the same thing. So we had that extra quality last season that several parties in the back, several players could build up very well. And that made us unpredictable and also allowed us to play the ball more efficiently.
So you're not concerned about that, basically? That's
no, we just have to develop that, and we have to also have our other players help out more. So a Taylor and a Berghuis should also be closer to their own half to try and receive that ball. You even see it with Messi sometimes, with Argentina. When he's not in the play or gets covered like very tightly, sometimes he drops so deep back to his own half, back to his own team to just receive the ball and be involved within the play.
Okay.
These things need to happen also with our players in the current squad, in my opinion.
Yellan, do
We
you
have
agree?
seen Berghuis we have seen Berghuis on a more deeper role on the World Cup. Do you think that he could form a similar way at Ajax?
I think he would be the best player, in my opinion, to do this, because I see Berghuis more as an all-round player that can do that at this moment a little bit better than Taylor. I see Taylor also with tremendous passing ability, but I think Taylor has more qualities, like also the almost the only quality he has, like Klaassen has, that can penetrate the box also, And this is something that I see Berghuis doing a little bit less and a little bit helping more out with the build-up play from the back, in my opinion.
Okay, clear? Yeah. Papimento, if you don't have anything to add to this, you can start showing us the comments.
Everything is said. David Lee, before we started, can't be here for the live show, but I will watch later. It's love and peace, everyone. Always good to see you, David. Thank you so much, man. Let me see. And then we go to, we have our other panel. Sahbi.
Sahbi.
Hey, what's up, dude?
He must be. We must give him some love. Show him some love, everyone. Morocco lost yesterday, so it's hard.
But
Morocco played great, man. Oh my God, I wish we had that Amrabat on our midfield. Anyway,
yeah.
Walter White. Hey guys, I've been watching this channel for a while. Keep up the good content.
I've been watching your show also. I've been watching your show also for a few days ago.
It's very good.
I love your show also.
A new one, A1 Allison, with a question. Do you guys think we are super short at LCB positions now? Obviously, Blind not first choice there anyway, but feels like we have very little covered there now and need to strengthen. Who wants this one?
Papimento, you take it first. It's okay.
The thing is, I saw Kaplan also playing in the youth, and actually I was kind of impressed. So I hope to see
the friendlies.
Huh?
No,
yeah, the friendlies, but with the youth.
Blackburn Rovers, right?
No, I think also the Volendam game. I think he played as well, right? And
that was a friendly.
Yeah, exactly. And both games he stood out. His passing is not great, but at least he's confident and he does pass the ball forward and he's not scared and he doesn't do a blind build-up, but he's comfortable enough on the ball not to be nervous, So I just want to see more of him. And yes, I agree. Bassey for me is not a left central back. He is more of a left back. We're trying to mold him more into that role, but we've all seen that. Yeah, he's not it. But I also have to say that our midfield are not helping a lot in the build-up. Having Sanchez and Edson next to them doesn't add anything for the build-up whatsoever. So it can't be easy for somebody that just started at Ajax.
Okay, but regarding your question, do you think we're short on the LCB position then?
I think for now we're good. But we should definitely evaluate at the end of the season for something else. Just because we have so many options at the moment at the LCB. I mean, Kaplan I still see as an option. So if you guys have a different opinion, go ahead.
I do think we need somebody to strengthen that area of the team, because if Blind also departs from Ajax, then we have a problem. Because I'm not saying he's the best central defender, but he has been the backup central defender as a left central defender while it was necessary. So if he's your primary choice as a second option, the first one to get off the bench to do the replacement and that position, you have to have somebody else that can fill that position. And I'm not comfortable enough to only rely on Kaplan to be the backup, because it's still a long season and you have to have some sufficient backup there. So for me, I would go for another player.
What about
what do you consider first?
Yeah. Hold on. What about the fact, Yellan, you can react quickly. So right now, possibly who can play there is Bassey. You can agree or disagree whether he's fit for that position, but he has been playing there. Schroeder has been putting him there. You have Kaplan, of course, but he's coming from an long injury, and he's just coming back. So that's a risk. And you have a youth player, which is very young still, but he can be a third option playing there, Hato. Or is this too much of a stretch? All three
stretch.
way too far,
Okay,
in my opinion.
go ahead, Jan.
Because I think even Bassey has been shown to be not good enough yet. I'm not saying that he could not be good enough, but our first option has been lacking for majority of the season. And I don't agree with the fact that he's more of a left back than a central back, because he lacks the dynamic of a left back. Like if you compare it to say like Nico Tagliafico, he lacks that dynamic play. So I think he should be
Really?
molded into. Sorry?
I think he seems more comfortable on the left back than the left central back for me.
That might be
And that
true,
was
but for
also
the
his
Ajax-
position with Rangers. With Rangers, that was also his position when he went to the Europa League final.
I think he played centrally in the final.
At the
Yeah,
end,
the second 6 months, because they had injury problems. So it was
Yeah,
like,
okay. Yeah, that was what I saw. But I think that with the proper training and molding, in my opinion, he's better as a central left central back instead of a left back, because I think being a left back at Ajax requires you also to be able to play forward like a Wijndal, and I don't see him being technical enough to play forward, to play on the half of the opponent. So I think
I think logically speaking, whether I agree or disagree with this, I think Schroeder sees it the same way. I think Bassey is also an option there, and then Kaplan is also an option there, because I think he's going to
central back position.
I'm sorry. Yeah, exactly.
That's a central back. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Because I think he would prefer Owen Wijndal. It's showing more and more that he prefers a full back that really goes dynamic.
And I have to agree with the coach there, because you do not buy a player that is like, I believe he was captain at AZ, has a track record there. He has also some caps already, and he is brought in for 10 million. So if you bring in a player like this that has a future, that is still young, that can develop, you should play him. And let's be honest, those first matches he played in the season, we got 5 wins. He played a lot of those minutes, I believe, in the beginning of the season. So he didn't do quite. He did actually do quite well.
He's been injured a lot.
Yeah,
Ajax,
afterwards.
So that's the reason.
Afterwards.
That's the reason he hasn't been playing as a starter for a while. And also, I mean, the first 5 games, we all talk about it, we won, but those were not tough opponents. Come on, let's be honest. If we look at the play,
but
we won with the score was in our favor.
I think we won the first 6, by the way, just to be sure.
That's possible.
But our game wasn't that great. Come on.
But let's be honest. If you look at the opponents afterwards, we spoiled some points against some very bad opponents. So I think that's a non-argument. Like it's like 50-50, I think, between those two halves, the 6 first matches and afterwards. So yeah,
I agree. Yeah.
Go ahead with the comments, Papimento.
Let me see. Roy is also here, the salty of the salty.
I see. That's
thanks for being here, buddy. Schreuder used to lead the Telegraaf. Right now, it's not Schreuder. Okay.
There you go.
That's nice info. Good having you here, bro. Jerry Person. Blind wants out because he's finally benched because of his terrible form for over a year now. And instead of fighting his way back, he wants to flee. Okay, definitely not a Blind fan.
Yeah,
but yeah.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, yeah, I'm just the panel, man. The host needs to talk also.
I'm just the host, bro. I wanted to say, basically, we don't know that. We don't know if he didn't want to fight, because this is the thing that I didn't have a chance to say. I remember an interview right before the World Cup in which he said he loves Ajax. He's an Ajaxite from his heart. These kind of things. You don't just say this. You don't come to Ajax from United in your peak, just to play at Ajax. He has love for the club. So the fact that he leaves Ajax, there is much more going on than we know.
But let's be honest, Juan. I think we all are of the opinion that we have to separate 2 things. Daley Blind is a pure Ajaxite. He's a child of the club. He has done a lot for the club. This has nothing to do with what he can bring at this moment. We have to be objective and just judge him on his ability that he can bring at the moment. And all he is as a player and as a child of the club, that is something set aside from that. But I do agree with the comment from Jerry, because you could also argue he's been called a fighter. He also in his first spell at Ajax, he was loaned out. He fought back into the team. He became an important player. I saw the documentary also. I believe it is some Videoland. He's called a fighter there also. Also with his heart problems that he had. So one could argue that him leaving now, there's much more going on than only being a bench player at the moment, because he's been through rougher fights during his career. So the character that I see in Daley Blind, his mentality, not his playing ability, but his mentality, it's not something that is going on now that I recognize, because in the past he was doing things way differently. So I think that it goes way deeper than this.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. For me, it's a little bit too simplistic. With me, again, I don't know the exact details of what's going on, but it's too simplistic going from he loves the club, he will give everything for the club, he's been through everything with the club, and then all of a sudden, after a few months, he wants to leave on a free, and Ajax accepted it. Something is not right. It doesn't sit right with me. So that's all I'm saying regarding that.
I mean, all I'll say about Blind is he hasn't sat on the bench at Ajax a lot. And every time he did, he didn't like it, and he made it known in the interviews. So maybe he's not the kind of player that wants to be on the bench, and he sees this as his dog years, and he wants to play everything he still can. So
Possible.
Kind of like what Ronaldo did with United. But
okay, that's a stretch.
But you cannot blame him. You cannot blame him also, because with his condition, with his device he has in his chest, with his heart condition, maybe his career isn't as long as we think anymore. Maybe a half a year, maybe 1.5 years. So each month, each game that he spends on the bench, it's one too much for him. So I could understand if that's is an argument for him also.
And look, from Ajax, from Ajax side, it's a big salary for somebody to be on the bench. So I understand that argument from Ajax side. If he wants to play and he doesn't want to be on the bench and he's a bloated salary, fine, we can have different options and make the team happy again. Not have people on the bench that are going to be critical and unhappy the whole time.
Okay, fine.
Host, you wanted to say something before I continue?
No, go ahead. No, it's okay. Let's move on. It's okay.
Here we have Must Plays 42. Wijndal is in love with Schreuder.
and I think Schreuder is in love with Wijndal too.
Yeah, that was in the news today that Wijndal was feeling that Schreuder has his best interest at heart, and that he didn't understand the criticism of Schreuder, and that he has full confidence in.
So how objective do you feel that is?
Not. No, it's
he just
not
secured his starting spot. That's
yeah. That's why, definitely.
Cool.
But that's a part of football. So
what else do we have? Papimento?
Is it just B43? Evening all. How do you know Blind is not leaking information to the media, which is why the club wants to cut ties with him? Maybe his dad, but I don't know. I don't know his dad, but not him. Right?
Since his contract is not getting extended.
That would be like the ultimate reverse psychology.
Yeah.
If blaming someone to leak it, he's the one leaking it. Yeah.
Good to have you, by the way.
Or his dad.
What else?
Let me see. Wow, yeah. I mean, Jerry Person, again, for progressive build-up play, we need to go back to a midfield with football. Our best midfield last year was Frankie Schöne on the midfield, and we need players like that instead of an Alvarez. I mean,
we know Alvarez is actually leaving, at least at the end of the season. So it will be interesting to see, because I think already in the January window, I've already saw 2 names being linked with Ajax: an Argentinian midfielder, I think it was Varela, and the second one was Danilo from Brazil. So I think they're already looking for a midfielder, a defensive midfielder. They're targeting that area for sure.
But for me, it's kind of. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I just wanted to say it's kind of easy to blame it on Alvarez, because under Ten Hag we also played very amazing games with Alvarez on the midfield. But yes, if you get a Sanchez without any quality on the ball on the wing, and we're struggling with Blind on the other side, then Edson Alvarez is gonna be more the main focus of not having a good build-up. So
And you don't have a build-up play in the midfield with Klaassen and Taylor and Alvarez.
But I think we're forgetting someone still, and one could argue, is it a good signing or not? Because the same happened with, what is his name from Sevilla? I forgot the name.
Ocampos.
Yes, he plays so little that I didn't remember his name.
He didn't play at all, I think.
Ocampos, yes. Same with Grealish, he's quite a decent player, and we got him on a free transfer. I had to pay, I think, quite a huge salary for him to come in also, because he was wanted by many clubs. What is his role in the team? He can play that position also. Are we just forgetting about him? Is he going out of the door after one season and thank you for the few minutes you played? Because I think he did quite well in Germany, so he should have something to add to the team.
Yeah, I remember when we got him, a lot of people who followed him were enthusiastic and happy, and they said he's very calm on the ball. He will help with the build-up and these kind of things. But why didn't he get used that much these last few months? And I've seen some people discuss and debate, okay, but you're not going to put Alvarez on the bench,
And I think our staff has to know him quite well also, with Kaltenbach coming from Germany, with Schreuder having some history in that country also, in that league. They know what his quality is. Otherwise, they wouldn't have signed him. So what is happening with our scouting department, with the people responsible for getting the players in? Because we have to thank the board that we signed Ocampos only for a loan spell. Because Ocampos is quite a bad signing. We can now conclude. We have now Grealish also. What is happening? Why aren't we using the players that we go for? And it baffles me.
Yeah, Go ahead.
No, I just wanted to agree with EyeJax and say, that's what worries me. Even though we brought in players that are so low quality that I'm scared of going into this January transfer window. And that's the only thing. What kind of players are we going to attract now? But
and not only this, we signed Bassey for quite some money, like the biggest sum that Ranger received in their history. And he is originally a left back that, as a necessity, had to play that central back position because of injuries. Was he scouted enough? Because he comes from the same management of Schreuder. Is it a Martin Jol situation again? Getting players in from the same management. He can be a quality player, but you can see he lacks also in a few areas that is necessary for an Ajax player to have as a quality, especially the build-up. I've seen him play so many passes that first half of the season. Easy passes, Juan. Not passes like over 20, 30 yards. Easy side passes that go way bad and go over the sideline and stuff. So you could argue also, is he a good signing for 25 million? Was he scouted enough?
I don't think you should focus too much on the actual money, because all the transfer fees are bloated in the last couple of years. I remember we were paying 8-9 million for a defender from a Dutch club. I forgot who it was, but along those lines, at least above 5 million.
Was it Sean Kleiber?
No, it was a central defender. Was it not Botman or something?
Schuurs.
No, maybe Schuurs or Kikpiri.
We had Botman as well, which costs money, right? But
bro,
anyway,
Kikpiri was 4 or 5 million, I believe, when we bought him.
Sean Kleiber, 5 million.
Yeah.
I think
yeah. So these transfer fees don't tell me anything. They're all bloated and blown up across a couple of years for a couple of years now.
I don't agree. If you look at Bassey, that's a huge sum for us. So you would expect a different kind of quality.
All I'm saying is that the 25 million from now is the equivalent of 10 million 5 years ago.
But not only the money is not only my problem. We didn't sign a pure central defender as a backup or a replacement for a pure central defender. There were other players linked with us that were pure central defender, like a Messina from plays at the club in France, and some other players were linked with us alongside Bassey. And we went for a left back that played for 6 months, first time in his life, as a central defender for 25 million. I think that's quite
Feyenoord coach. So that's the important thing.
What?
He played under Gio, and he's a Feyenoord coach. So I see a hoax here. We've
Look,
been, we've been duped.
I wanted to react quickly on what Ajax said. Oh no, sorry, on what Papimento said. His worry of going into the transfer window. I think the difference would be now, at least if we can believe all the stories coming up right now, is that in the summer the board didn't pay attention to the scouts, and now the scouts are heavily being used to find adequate players. So there's a change there. So let's hope for the best. Yeah.
Couple of comments.
Yeah.
Roy is keeping us updated on the game from Young Ajax. So on the front, great actions by Luca and the ball on the post. The boys are playing a decent game. So keep it up. Thank you, Roy. Let us know if something else happens.
Definitely tuning in for that second half.
Definitely. Brush is also here. Big up, dude. Thanks for being here. FA, you guys are so polite. Wow. Okay.
Why thanks, thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Not always, but we try.
Cheers, mate. Murder Inc. And then we can continue with the discussion. Guys, I think if Schroeder is bold enough to bench Tadic, if he doesn't perform, the other guys on the bench will give their 100% when brought into play.
I have to say he's bold enough already, so I do not know how much bolder he can get, to be honest. But.
Well, the thing is, I mean, he can bench whatever he wants, but if we look at the tactics he's playing, I'm not impressed. So even though you put the best players in there, I still think it's more of a Schroeder problem that we're playing like this and not a player problem. But if you guys disagree, please go ahead.
Not if you state the obvious, bro.
Okay.
I wanted to move away from the blame discussion and what we discussed so far. Just going quickly on the goalkeeper. We've been linked with Noppert. Rumors with Livakovic, the keeper from Croatia, who did very well actually. So for me, it's a little bit of a question. Is getting a goalkeeper in the winter, in the January window, is that a priority for you guys? That's the first question. And the second question, if so, let's say Ajax wants to pull the trigger, who would you want to see as a goalkeeper coming in? Yellan, let me give it to you first.
I think this discussion has been hyped up during the World Cup because there are heroics to be had. First of all, we've been linked with the Croatian goalkeeper, Dominik Livakovic, which had a good tournament, a really good tournament. And then our own Andries Noppert, who also had a good tournament, except for maybe the penalty series.
I feel a butt coming. There's a butt coming, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Except for the penalty series, but we cannot agree on that. But yeah, I think no, we don't need a new goalkeeper in the January transfer window. But if we do, I would go for Noppert, mainly because he's brought up with the Dutch football school and with the Dutch way of playing. So the goalkeeper at Ajax needs to be able to play from the back and to contribute with passes. And I don't know how good Livakovic is in doing that. And I've seen some good things out of Noppert doing that. So if we do something, that would be my choice.
Yeah, let me add something to this. How much do you think it's important? Maybe it's not in your view, but how much do you think it's important to have a Dutch-speaking goalkeeper?
Not so much.
Not so much? Okay.
No. It depends on how good his English is. But
all right.
I mean, if he only speaks Croatian, we're gonna have a problem. So, but left, right, center, back is easy to learn.
Okay. All right. Ajax, what's your opinion on this?
I have to dive a little bit deeper into the Noppert situation because it's a goalkeeper that's 28 years old. I did some research on him. He played prior to the World Cup 62 professional matches in his career, and he's 28 years old. Which of the last season in the lower division of the Netherlands, one lower than the Eredivisie, and now at Heerenveen, 29 matches. So most of those matches were in this last year and a half, and never was there paid any fee for him. He was always going on a free transfer, so nobody paid for him a dime.
Late bloomer?
Now.
Late bloomer?
Maybe a late bloomer, but for me, it's a big stretch going for him after 5 World Cup matches, how intensively did we scout him? And are we not on the hype train at the moment, just paying the full price for him? And this is what concerns me, because if you're being honest, those 5 matches didn't tell me a lot. He had quite a few saves, but he had a world-class defense in front of him, at least the central defense in front of him. Those 3 players with Timber and Virgil van Dijk and Ake, they cleared up so many problems for a defense. Only those 3. So
and we didn't play a high line either.
Exactly. So is this like the real test case to buy a player, and especially for 10 million or 10 million plus even?
Plus, yeah.
I would rather go for Livakovic than for a Noppert, because he has a bigger track record. But the goalkeeper situation, we can postpone that for 6 more months, because I think we have sufficient players in that area for those 6 months.
But
let me be devil's advocate for a second, because you say I would rather go for Livakovic. He has been playing in Croatia. He's also 27, and he's been in the first team from Dinamo Zagreb for 6 years now, and he was loaned out twice to another club in Croatia. If he was that good, he would have been picked up by a European club already now in the 6 years that he's been in the first team.
That's what I wanted to say.
I see the same. The same problem with Livakovic as I see with Noppert.
Yeah,
just
but there's a big difference there, though. He's probably at the club and got loaned out because he wasn't the first goalkeeper. But did you see the club history of Noppert? Did you check that?
I agree, but it's
they
a
were
similar
like,
problem.
I think 10, 11 clubs, and at all those clubs, it didn't work.
Not true,
So
but it's a similar problem. I'm saying experience-wise, it's a similar problem. They both don't have enough experience to be Ajax first-team goalkeeper.
So I do feel then, if I hear both of you, in general, let me just make the general comment. You guys are a little bit not scared, but maybe cautious of jumping on the hype train and getting 2 goalkeepers that did well in the World Cup, if you look at their past performances.
And also, but what also really surprises me, we were chasing Vlachodimos, if I pronounce it correctly, just before the end of the transfer window. So what happened with him? He was probably a scouting target, right? We scouted him intensively. Why isn't his name mentioned anymore? So this confirms to me that we're riding the hype train on both of those players. I'm not saying that they cannot deliver or could be a value to our team. But what happened with the goalkeeper that already was a target for us? Is he?
I read yesterday. I read yesterday about him that he will get a contract extension at Benfica. So I think that ship has sailed.
Okay.
It's no longer an option.
Okay, that's an answer.
And I think Pasveer would do fine.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, okay, but about that, and I will go to Papimento for that, and then Yella, you can react on that as well, because Yella is saying everything I want to say. That's not fair. So
sorry about that.
you should be a host then.
Yes, you can sit here. No, but
we rehearse these things
Yeah, but what happens, guys? What happens? God forbid. What happens if Pasveer is no longer available? Injury or
then we have Stekelenburg.
Okay. Are you guys comfortable? Because Stekelenburg hasn't been the first goalkeeper for a while.
After experience,
he showed that he can step in. He showed it.
Yeah, but in all honesty, Juan, if you look at the Gorter situation, he was, because of the fitness level, maybe at the beginning of the season, he was the primary goalkeeper against PSV in the Charity Shield, the Johan Cruijffschaal. And then we had a bad performance that you could also argue had to do with level of fitness, because PSV was already further into the preseason than us. And he got sacrificed right after that match, and Pasveer became the first goalkeeper again, which I understand because of last season. But Pasveer made, for the first time this season, also a few big mistakes. So one could argue, if Pasveer made those mistakes, shouldn't Gorter get at least a second chance before writing him off at all? Because he's still there.
Yeah.
Definitely, but both, look, at the end of the season, it's a whole different game. But to buy a keeper now, I wouldn't do it. That's my personal opinion. At the end of the season, even if you try Gorter, you need an extra goalkeeper, because I think this is the last season for Pasveer and Stekelenburg, right? I mean, it's not going to be another season. Maybe Pasveer could be a second goalkeeper, but next to Gorter, you need competition, and they have to earn their spot, and it's not given. So that's my opinion. And yes, Gorter does deserve a chance, in my opinion. I do hear a lot of rumors that he's kind of arrogant. I don't know if that's true,
That's good.
and that's
Right.
why people
Yes.
don't like him.
But
I don't
that
see the
at our
problem.
at our club, that is a necessity to have a
Yes.
little bit of moxie, right? So
I want
Yeah,
to.
well, not that kind of moxie.
I want to come back a little bit on what Ajax said about Vlachodimos, because if I recall correctly, and maybe I'm a little bit off, but I think generally speaking, in the summer, the technical staff, the ones that are responsible for getting players in, they wanted to get him in, but it was rejected also by the board because they said we already have 3 goalkeepers. It should be enough for this season.
yeah, and I think what I said before, I think we can stretch for 6 more months with this 3 goalkeepers we have. And
You
then,
do agree with the board then?
yeah,
More or
I
less.
think so. Because how is the situation different than prior to the season? You know, we still have those same 3 goalkeepers. We're not in the Champions League anymore. We're in the lower European Cup now, in the Europa League. So yeah, we want to go far, and we know that a keeper is important, but it's not the most important position that we need strengthening in. So if we have a tight budget in the January window, why spoil 10 or 10 plus million on a goalkeeper that you could easily arrange with the keepers you already have at the moment, at least for the remainder of the season?
Okay, let me go a little bit off
Let's see
topic.
what he does. Yeah.
Yeah. Let me go a little bit off topic because we're talking a little bit about the January window. Would you get this player or what do we need, et cetera, et cetera. So let me just ask you guys, if you have to mark the priority signings, position-wise, not even names, but position-wise within the squad, which position or 2 positions, you can go for 2 as well, would you prioritize for Ajax going into the second half of the season? Yellan.
Left central back, next to Timber, and a ball-playing midfielder, whatever he's going to be put. So in terms
Not the right wing position for you? That's okay?
No, I've said this a lot, and I have seen. I know he's young, and I know I've said this time and time again. I see a lot of potential in Conceição, and I see that he should get more and more chances because every time he is brought onto the pitch, something special happens. I've even said, play Bergwijn and then play Conceição and bench Tadic if he keeps performing like this. I've said this for a couple of times now, so I think that we're good on that end, even though he's young. But he has the Ajax. He gives me a little bit of a young Anthony vibe. So.
Okay, Papimento, you agree?
Yeah, I agree. I would go for a right back, defensive central midfielder, and a left central back. Those would be my priorities. We saw that Kudus also can play on the right wing. If Conceição gets injured, you could post him there. But he's a player for me that shouldn't be on the bench. So if he's not playing on the 10, he should be capable of also making his mark there.
Interesting. EyeJax?
Yeah, definitely a central defender, and my preference is a multifunctional central defender. So somebody who could play both positions would be preferable. But most of all, a ball-playing central defender. So somebody who's comfortable playing the ball and can deliver that ball at least to the right shirt, up front of him. Because these things are quite of a problem at the current Ajax team. So yeah, this is a necessity. But I still have hope for Rensch, but I'm not too comfortable with the right back position also in the team, because that right winger position is already difficult. We've been struggling there, and I can see Conceição, like Yellan said, deliver quality there, especially in the long run. But the right back position also needs strengthening, because I do not believe in Sanchez, what I saw up until now.
I told you about Sanchez at the beginning of the season. I told you he was not good enough. Yeah.
But and I would love to see, if I can name one more name, I would love to see Ziyech back at the club. That would make my day. And especially if Kudus leaves the club, because there are a lot of rumors surrounding his person. If he leaves, we need strengthening on the attacking midfield position, maybe also the right winger position, and I think Ziyech can play both of those positions, so he would be a terrific signing for us.
So if Kudus leaves, you would make it a priority to get Ziyech?
Definitely. I would make it a priority to get Ziyech if you can get him, even if Kudus stays.
But you should. But wait a minute. But you should be aware of the fact that if you go for Ziyech, you are paying top dollar, right? If it's possible. We don't even know if it's possible, but if it's possible, you're going to spend your budget basically on getting a player for a position which Yellan doesn't think is a priority. You don't think it's a priority. Should we spend that much money on that?
But you have certain players that can make a difference for you, and he's one of those players.
Would this be a transfer fee? I thought I hear talks before about a loan.
Yeah, but
This would be an actual transfer.
No,
Yeah,
because
sorry?
in the summer, Ajax wanted to have him on loan. He didn't want that.
Obviously,
Yeah. So that's
Juan, can I go? Can I go for some comments because I
let's go.
That I'm like,
Sure. Let's go with the comments, and then we move to Kudus. We have to talk about him
Anthony
as well.
Vanenburg. We have a Vanenburg here. I don't know if it's relation to the Vanenburg, but that's amazing. Ajax needs to buy Unahi from Morocco.
No way. Somebody told me. Who told me yesterday? Leicester.
45 million.
Oh,
Yeah,
never mind then.
we can't
Okay,
compete
sorry,
with that.
Anthony.
But
Thanks
honestly,
for your comment, bro.
great player.
Yeah, definitely. Amazing player. D-Mac, since Schreuder came in, none of our players are developing. Do you guys believe we still going to see some development in the coming months with Schreuder?
According to Wendel, yes.
According to me, hell no. But
No, what do you guys, on a serious note, what do you guys think?
We can say it all together.
No. As I said before, I don't see any vision in what Schreuder is doing, so I can't even answer this question.
My faith is gone in this coach.
I can see some development with him the next half of the season, but you're not going to like my argumentation behind it because we went so far below par this first half of the season. One could argue it would not go worse than that. That is my
So your theory, we're going to clip this. So your theory is, how low can you go?
Yeah, how low?
This is it.
Low can you go?
All right, cool. All right.
Let's hope so, brother.
Everybody will remember this, right? Okay, so
mark it.
So instead of long balls to Kudus, it will be to Luka now?
Luka. That's an improvement.
Sahbi, no to Noppert. Okay, that's clear. Thank you for that one.
Nope.
If Anthony's actually he wants the keeper from Croatia, philosophy. So
if I can briefly touch upon Croatia, I did like that right back that they have. What I saw of him, I cannot remember his name, but he was quite speedy. A lot of poise within his play, quite comfortable on the ball, can play combination football. I do not know where he plays or what his value is, but I loved what I see, what he brought in those matches. So,
I'm going to be a bit negative, which I don't like to be, but this World Cup, it's always nice to see players you never heard of play very well, and then you're thinking, what are we doing?
Oh, the right back.
Juranovic. Yeah, Juranovic.
Yeah.
He plays at Celtic. He plays at Celtic.
Pretty good. Yeah. And here, Ewan Allison. Why not give Gorter another run? We discussed this.
Yeah, I think EyeJax.
We would.
Yeah.
Is this the Allison that's saying that? Because that puts some
relation
some more...
to the Allison. Let me see. Murder Inc. with an update on young Ajax.
Good.
We're ahead. So that's good.
That's nice.
Thank you. Can you also tell us who scored it? Murder Inc. That would be nice. Alex with this, Noppert is a policeman. I'm not sure what he means by that, but
maybe it looks like a policeman.
like one from the 80s.
The mustache.
Let me see. Papimento. United needs some new players. What are the price tags of Kudus and Timber?
It's a question directed to you, Papimento. Go ahead, man.
Yeah.
I would say Kudus mid-season 60 and Timber 80. Not less than that. So at the end of the season, 60. We can discuss the price, but definitely not lower.
No, 45 million for Kudus is like a terrific price, I think.
Okay.
I would never sell him for that price mid-season.
And Timber?
Oh my God, no.
I mean, hypothetically. And Timber?
Yeah, 70 is a stretch, I think, because I think he's in decline compared to when he played. Yeah, when he played with Martinez last season. I'm talking about at Ajax. You cannot argue with me that you think it's the same timber as we saw last season.
But you also saw him at the World Cup with a better defender
Yeah,
next to
but
him,
that-
and he was
that's
terrific
true.
in the World
That's
Cup.
true.
And you
That's
have to
true.
pay World Cup tax, man. That's how it
That's
works.
true, but I think 70 million is a lot of tax on it. So I'm saying he's
Yeah.
a terrific player. He has a high ceiling, but what you see with a lot of young players, he was all this like the whole time that he plays, and now he's a little dip and still, up there, but not increasing anymore.
Even when you look at the Ligt, who's going
Yeah.
through a more or less.
I don't agree, Juan, with this, but that's because I think Ajax is struggling and he's not having a good partner next to him.
I don't think you should sell them.
Yeah, not only is Ajax struggling, but he's playing with basically 3 new players next to him. Okay, maybe
Exactly.
Blind not, but Blind is leaving, so he has 3 new players compared to last season.
Yeah, but one
Please,
could
let's not
argue
sell them
also,
in the winter.
you saw in the media that quote that Martinez kept him alive during matches sometimes when he was like dozing off, and he's not there anymore. So maybe he needs somebody besides him who also like give him that energy, So
Yeah.
Or
this
he
is
needs
something
time
that
to
he has to
develop
bring in.
himself.
Yeah, exactly
True.
that. What Yellan says.
He needs time to develop himself. It's all new for him.
Yeah.
Give it time.
It was Banel that scored, by the way. So thanks for the update, Murder Inc. Amazing that you guys are doing this. Let me see. I had here, it's just me saying Van Gaal would not have started Noppert if he didn't believe he was the better keeper. Face it, Pasveer will cost Ajax the league, but agree, Noppert is not the priority.
Okay,
Wow.
fair point. Fair point.
Fair.
Because I remember also Van Gaal saying that with the football ability, that he was surprised during training what Noppert can do. So
He was quite well with his feet in those matches, so I have to give him that. And you never have to disagree with Van Gaal on football subjects, so I'm not doing that.
except the Argentinians. Except the
We will be in the comments in the next 5 minutes.
And to kick it off for the next topic we have, I swear Ajax is stupid if they sell Kudus. Just let him play on his favorite position for a few games instead of the false 9 position. Anthony Vandenberg, again, thank you for that.
You know what's funny, Papimento, with the Kudus situation? You know that there's a large group, or I don't know if it's large, but supporters that blame Kudus for everything that went wrong at Ajax in the team, while he was scoring a lot. But that juju he had apparently wasn't there at all at Ghana. It looked like he let the team play better, scored a few goals, was there, and nobody seemed playing worse with him in the team. So one could argue it was not him that made the team play worse, So
Exactly. I mean, look, he's not the typical Ajax player, and I might understand that somebody would say, okay, maybe he doesn't fit in the system at Ajax. But he is one of a kind player in this team. He has certain unique abilities that no other player has. So for me, if I can, if the host allows me to already say something about the transfer window and letting Kudus go,
sure,
that would be mid-season. That would be costing us the league. So for me, definitely no, don't let him go. He can go at the end of the season, but not mid-season, no matter what the price for me.
I would rather see him for one more season after that, because this is his first season that he's playing a lot, also due to injuries and also due to Ten Hag favoring other players that played more during his injuries, so got to establish themselves. But I think he has a contract until May 2025, so he still has a few more years. I would love to see him for one more year and then sell him.
But he's not happy though.
Yeah, but he will be happy. Maybe he will be happy if he got played in his right position, because one could argue also he scored a lot of goals in a position that is not his natural position. He still carried the team the way he could. So play him as an attacking midfielder for 5 or 10 matches and then judge him on those performances.
But Schreuder said he would only play him. I'm sorry, but Schreuder would only play him with 2 defensive midfielders. So you would opt for a Grealish and Edson in the back to play Kudus as a 10?
No.
No.
But I do not agree with Schreuder's philosophy at all. So
Nobody does.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Yellan. Sorry for interrupting. Go.
No, that's fine. I think I agree with you. They shouldn't sell him in the winter transfer window. except when it's the ridiculous offer, but which will probably not come. I don't think he should stay after this year because, as we've seen, he can be good for the team, but when he doesn't get his way, like he can be quite disruptive as well. When he wanted to force the transfer to Everton, I believe it was beginning of the year or before the season started.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would love to see him in his prime role because I think he was excellent at Ghana at the World Cup.
And
And
what
I
would
don't see a
be?
problem.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask, what would be a ridiculous price for you for
Yeah,
Kudus?
I wanted to ask that too.
Okay. Let's say 70 million plus.
Wow.
60
Okay.
million plus.
For me, it's already 50, 55 millions. I think it's a
Why?
lot for a player that didn't play that much. So
You can get that at the end of season 2.
you
for
can
him.
easily get that money for him and bring in Ziyech and still have some money left in your pocket. So
I don't agree with Papimento, what Papimento said, because if we become league champions and qualify for Champions League, we had a successful season, statistically, yes, you can get a lot of money for him. But don't forget, he's hot right now, just coming out of the World Cup as well. So I'm questioning whether this is the time to cash in most for him or whether we should wait. And of course, becoming league champions for the club as Ajax is more important. But in terms of only looking at what you can get for a player, the max, I'm questioning whether the summer would be better than January.
I think you are totally right, Juan, because
I disagree.
we have to go way deep into the Europa League, like a long spell within Europa League that he performs very well in, because the Eredivisie isn't a stage that is recognized by the big leagues or is valued that much, if you perform well there, which I agree. But the World Cup stage is seen all over the world, especially if you're in a team that is maybe the underdog in certain matches and still perform well there. This is the stage that you can cash in on. And also, you have the tax, for the January window, because usually clubs pay a little bit more because it's in the middle of the season. So I think if you want to sell him, this is the moment. Otherwise, you need to keep him for another season, in my opinion.
Why are we so focused on getting the maximum transfer value? Because isn't winning the league more important than getting a 10, 15 million extra? In my opinion, that should be focus number one.
That's
Yeah,
why
but
I look at both ways. I look at both.
Yeah, but
And also, Kudus has been talked about since the Champions League. It's not only World Cup.
Exactly.
Liverpool has been watching him for months now. It's not
Dortmund.
only the World Cup.
I think this World Cup
Dortmund,
added like
so-
20 million to his fee. 15, 20.
Exactly, but that would be there at the end of the season as well. I don't want.
I don't think that will stay. That will not stay.
to answer your
But that's
question
okay.
also,
I'd rather win the league and play Champions League next year than cash in on 15 million extra and lose out on Champions League.
Exactly,
but-
like we did with Anthony.
but let's be honest, why are we thinking about the transfer values? Because the club stated that we needed 55 million only a year from transfers to get by. So this is why it's becoming an issue that we think about that stuff. And about winning the league, even without Kudus, if you see all the teams with PSV and with AZ and with Feyenoord that lost a lot of players and they had to rebuild also, we should still have sufficient quality within our team to cruise and win the Eredivisie. So no, it isn't happening because of the coach, but with our team, with the money we spent, we should easily win the Eredivisie. I stated it before the Eredivisie started, and I'm stating it again. So it's a big.
Yeah, we should, but we aren't.
Yeah, but yeah, that is the problem. That is why Schreuder needs to go.
Talking about that, we will talk about it in another other episode or other video. But let's not forget, and of course, quality-wise, Feyenoord is not. I mean, probably we'll get a lot of angry people from Rotterdam, but if we look at the quality, we're much better quality individual players than Feyenoord. But Feyenoord had an advantage during the World Cup. I don't think they had anyone going to the World Cup, so they have been training for 2 months now.
Yeah, and that's the difference between a good coach and a coach that doesn't know what to do. It's
it's going to be interesting. It's going to be very interesting. So yeah, look about Kudus quickly. For me personally, I wouldn't sell him because it will create also a problem in our squad. Look, Brobbey so far, he's a good striker, and he is the striker. But I mean, according to Schroeder, he cannot play consistently 90 minutes every game. So, and he sees Kudus as the next thing, and Luka is more of a pinch hitter. So, if you get Kudus out and something happens to Broby, then we're only relying on Luka basically.
You can also. I'm not
Glad you
saying
see
I'm
the
the biggest.
strikers.
I'm not saying the biggest fan of this, but you can also play Bergwijn as a striker. You saw it, and it's a different formation. You saw it at the Dutch national team. He played that a few times there also, but it was in a
Bergwijn.
two striker formation. But
He's
but
in
can,
such a terrible form.
yeah,
though.
I know. But
Ajax.
can we at least all agree on the Kudus situation that if the club decides not to sell him, he should be a starter every match in the coming 6 months, because you cannot just decline the offer and make him a bench player that plays like now and then. One match he plays,
Exactly.
other match he's on the bench. Then he plays 30 minutes, then he's on the bench again. Then he plays a full match again. So either cash in on him now and grant him his wish to move, or play him consistently and let him be a starter. Otherwise, it's a bad decision twice, you know?
I agree.
Yeah, I don't know if Schroeder will do that, to be honest. But
No, but do you agree with this?
I wouldn't play him as a striker. That's my opinion. So
But you would play him every match, right?
yeah,
That's
I
the
would.
question.
I would play him as much as possible, but I would not play him as a 9. Only if it's really necessary, as like a fallback option, but not as a number 1.
But it's clear he's our best player for the 10, right?
I
In our
think
squad.
so, yeah. Yes, I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah.
We really have a 10.
Yeah.
Class.
Yeah. No, but we don't really have a 10 position if we play with
That's true.
Alvarez and 2 midfielders. So
True.
Yeah, true.
But the one closest to the offense, you know,
yeah.
of those 3.
But then you can argue that he is too far from the goal.
So much to argue about, guys.
Yeah.
definitely.
Anyways, I think we covered most of the points today. Just going quickly on the last comments, and then that's it.
Sahbi gives us some information
Mhm.
on Juranovic.
That's the right back.
the right back.
He extended,
right.
unfortunately, at Celtic, so that's the no-go.
Mhm.
Vandenberg, again, if Ziyech is not possible for the right wing, they have to buy Bailey.
This was the one I was rooting for because they talked about Ocampos and Bailey, right? Before the window ended.
There was talks in the summer.
I
Yeah,
was hoping so much for Bailey, but then we got
We
Ocampos.
tried Bailey when he was still at Genk.
True. Also,
Yeah,
Yeah.
but then
Is that
he
the
went
Bailey
to
that played under Bos?
Then
Yes.
it was the one that goes to Leverkusen, right?
yes.
When we tried to get him, yeah.
Yes.
Correct.
He plays in the Premier League now. No way we
Yeah,
can
yeah,
afford him.
And let's be honest, he's a Jamaican player, right? A Jamaican nationality, right? So
Yeah.
it's a good fit with the Bob Marley, you know. So
That's
try
true,
that.
He started. He has been playing pretty okay, pretty decent. Also, the last few.
I think that's a no-go.
And the last one, again, Anthony Vandenberg. I think Ajax needs a striker also. Nothing against Brogy, but he hasn't played one good game in the big games. I miss Haller.
I don't agree. Not fully.
Go ahead, Yellan. Explain yourself.
Yeah,
I think he played well in some games, especially also in the bigger games against PSV, against AZ. So I think that Robbie needs to be in the striker position consistently for 10, 15 matches, and then we can really judge him.
Yeah.
And also
he started
that
very well, actually.
I think he's an excellent Ajax striker.
Also that argument that he cannot play the full 90 minutes. Come on, man. You're training a lot. You're a professional footballer. You're young. What are we talking about?
Yeah, but
The
Schroeder.
thing is, he
It
disagrees with
shouldn't
that.
be an
Yeah.
issue.
Hold on. Every time this question arises, and the counter argument of Schroeder is, yeah, but don't forget, last season he only played so many minutes. He is not fit, and he has a history of injuries. So we're trying to build him up to a certain levels. Well, we have to be
For a
careful.
full season?
I'm sorry.
You're not building someone up for a full season.
I'm just telling you what Schroeder is saying. Yeah.
But
Yeah,
you know what's weird though? Separate from this, but a perfect example. Also, Kudus couldn't play the full games for Ghana. He was also being taken off at the 75, 80th minute, being completely out of breath. So maybe it just takes a lot of energy to play in that role as an attacker. I don't know.
Yeah, but why is that? Also because he didn't get consistent minutes at Ajax. Then he plays in the Champions League.
True.
Then he got benched again. Then he plays 30 minutes. Then he is a starter in the Champions League again.
It's the
How
same
can
with
you build
Robbie.
match fitness if you get so not consistently the minutes that you need?
Yeah, agreed, 100%.
All right. I think that's it then, Papimento.
I think so. Yeah, no more comments. So yeah, you can finish it off.
All right.
Oh, one last remark.
Mhm.
It was great to see Haller back in the crowd again because he got invited to Qatar. I believe I saw him there. And with his, medical condition, with the cancer he had and the treatment he's getting, I just hope he gets well soon and that this can be left behind him and that we see him on the pitch again. Although not at Ajax, but playing football again. I would love to see that.
Yeah,
We're
absolutely.
rooting
We all
for you.
hope so.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, we all hope so. I think we got one comment or not, Papimento?
Yeah, but that's already discussed. So I'm not gonna show it. It's from Joris Buurma. In which position need Ajax a new player? But we discussed this already previously. So just check Joris. Thank you for the comment, but just check it
There's not
later on. You can watch the
Yeah,
video.
the video will be published in a bit, so you can check it back. Thank you everyone for joining, for tuning in as well. Panels, you guys, thank you as well. You could go watch the second half of Young Ajax, Young PSV. For the ones that are new, if you enjoy the show, we'll be back next week. Final episode of the year. And please subscribe, like, drop the like button, and see you next time.
That one. All right.